Thanks a lot for that. Good afternoon. It's 2 o'clock. You continue to be with us here at CNN News 18. I'm Ridhima Bhatnagar, getting you all the top stories over the next 60 minutes. We're beginning with our top focus. It's a historic move. The Board of Control for Cricket in India today made a big announcement, stating that the match fee for both men and women contracted cricketers will now be the same. The BCCI Secretary Jai Shah has confirmed that the contracted senior women cricketers will earn the same match fee as their male counterparts. Indian women will now get 15 lakhs for Test, 6 lakhs for the ODIs and 3 lakhs for the T20s. The decision comes just days after it was decided in the BCCI AGM that the first season of women's IPL will be played in 2023. Historic move, as I pointed out. This is something that has been asked for a really long time. The question is cricket now setting a standard for other sports, and will other sports follow suit as well? But the big announcement that has been made by the BCCI Secretary Jai Shah, confirming that male and female cricketers will now earn the same match fee. And we've gotten the exact numbers as well. So for the Test cricket, it will be 15 lakhs. For ODIs, it will be 6 lakhs. And for T20s, it will be 3 lakhs. As I pointed out, this is one crucial decision that has been taken. This comes in the backdrop of another decision that was taken in the BCCI AGM, where it was decided that, in fact, the first season of women's IPL will be played in 2023. As I said, this had been a long-standing demand from women cricketers that if we put in the same amount of hard work, why don't we deserve the same amount of money as well? My colleague Rishi Sinha now joining us on the broadcast. Rishi, as I said, historic on many levels. This had been a long-standing demand of women cricketers that if we put in the same amount of hard work, the same amount of concentration and sincerity, we demand the same pay as well. How do you see this working in months and years to come in terms of the popularity that women cricket will also get in India now?
See, I think, it's something that was there in the offing, the way this BCCI regime has been running cricket. I think this was, we all saw this coming, just that it was a matter of time, and it's a great decision. And not just for the, for the sport of cricket. I feel these things we will see in other sports also, as far as India is concerned. Like recently, what BCCI has also done is that they have introduced women's IPL cricket. So, the whole idea of making this sport, any sport, more and more inclusive, this is a great step. And with this, there'll be more money that will be coming onto the sports, and you will see more and more participation. More women would also get encouraged to be a part of the sport, and not just this sport. I would say it's a big step towards the bridging the gender gap in the country itself.
And not just the gender gap, as I said, Rishi, I'll just request you to stay on with us. There are other important factors to discuss as well. But at this point, we are opening our call-in lines as well. As we said, this is historic. The BCCI has announced equal pay. With the question is, will other sports follow as well? The number flashing on your screen, 0120-434-1895. I'll repeat the number for you, 0120-434-1895. Has cricket now set an example for other sports? But I want to continue the conversation with my colleague Rishi. Rishi, as I was saying, there is no denying the fact that cricket is seen as another religion in India. But unfortunately, that has been restricted only to men's cricket. Once you have this pay parity, coming in as far as women's cricket is concerned, you'll have more advertisers wanting to push in money. Possibly you'll have women's cricket and their players playing more matches also, something that wasn't the scene till now.
Exactly. And it's just not the advertisers. There'll be more money, advertisers coming in, more and more people taking the sport. I think that's one of the biggest problems that has been with any form of cricket or any form of sports. There was a disparity as far as the women's and the men's sports are concerned, and that's why a lot of women especially would not have taken up the sports. But now with this parity coming in, more and more women, more and more advertisers, more tournaments happening across the country. And as I mentioned earlier also, because of the IPL, the women's IPL that's coming, you will see a lot of sponsor interest. And this is a big step towards making India a sports inclusive nation.
Rishi, I'll leave the conversation there, but we'll continue to come back to you. We're getting in some callers as well. Srinivasan calling us from Belgaum. Srinivasan, good to have you on the broadcast with us. What do you feel about this move by the BCCI?
Yeah, first of all, good afternoon. It is no doubt a very historical step, and we pray to God that the government should take a clue out of this, and the Minimum Wages Act, which is there. In that also, if same pay for men and women is there, especially for daily wages laborers who work in Manrega and factories and all, and that will be a historic step towards this country's progress. That's our prayer, so that I hope the government listens to this. Thank you so much.
Okay, Srinivasan, we appreciate you calling us here on CNN News 18. Our call-in lines are still open. Numbers flashing on your screen, 0120-434-1895. My colleague Rishi continues to be with us. Rishi, the other question also... Okay, we seem to have lost that connection with my colleague Rishi. We'll try and re-establish that one. But in the meantime, reminding all our viewers that our call-in lines are open. Numbers flashing on your screens. Do you think that this is now setting an example and other sports will follow suit as well? The big announcement coming in from the BCCI, where they've now said and made it clear that men and women cricketers will get the same amount of money for the matches that they play. This, of course, is going to be a big boost to women cricketers and youngsters who are aspiring to come into this field, coming in the backdrop of that big IPL announcement that was made, that was decided in the BCCI AGM, that the first season of women's IPL will be played, in fact, in 2023. So today, Jaisha clarifying that men and women cricketers will, in fact, get the same money, and we've also gotten the clarity in terms of how much the women cricketers will get. For tests, it'll be 15 lakh. For ODIs, it'll be 6 lakh. And for T20s, it'll be 3 lakhs. But the larger question now is, one, why has it taken so long? And more importantly, now that this clarity has come from cricket, will other sports follow suit as well? Because as I was discussing with my colleague Rishi a short while ago earlier as well, that this had been a long-standing demand by these players. That, listen, situation is not easy for us. We put in the same amount of effort. We put in the same amount of sincerity, then why should we not deserve the same amount of money as well? And this is what had resulted in less number of people wanting to become women cricketers and the less number of matches which had been played by women cricketers as well. But this is now going to set a great example that there is no difference. Gender is no bar. If you put in the same amount of hard work, you deserve the same amount of money as well. But as I said, will this now, in fact, set an example for other sports as well? Because remember, a lot of these players come from villages and smaller towns where, life hasn't really been easy for them. And then they come in and they see this, disparity as well, which of course now is trying to be bridged. But my colleague Shivani also now joining us from our newsroom. Shivani, as I was discussing with Rishi as well, this had been a long-standing demand by women cricketers, by players, that if we put in the same amount of work and sincerity, then why don't we deserve the same amount of money? Do you then think this move by the BCCI will also now see a lot more players and aspirants wanting to come into this field?
That's an interesting question. All this while, the pay difference between the men's and women's cricket, or just generally speaking in men's sport and women's sport, has been talked about, and that pay difference has been quite high. Does that stop female athletes from wanting to achieve what they want to achieve for the country? Probably not. But we all accept that, especially as a budding athlete, not just a cricketer, you do need support. Now, support means a lot of things. Of course, at the domestic level and at the earlier stages, you need facilities, infrastructure, you need the right coaching, you need the right backing, and etc., facilities, etc., that really define, the athlete. But as you get higher up the ladder, you obviously, do want that your efforts should also end up giving you a lucrative career. And till that, a faith is not there, or till that backup is not there, that you're going to be able to make a lucrative career, parents, families, the mindset, always is to discourage sports in life. And therefore, we have this whole culture of wanting to become a doctor or engineer and not so much an athlete. Already being an athlete is a very tough business, because you never know what can go wrong in your career. A lot depends on other factors, not just on talent. So when it comes to, match fees, when it's the highest level of the game, which is, of course, the BCCI test, ODIs and T20I level, it definitely goes a long way to send out a message that, women's cricket is equally valuable and worthy. That's the most important thing.
True.
That's the message that needs to be sent. It will take some time over the years for that message to inculcate in young girls. It's not so much about money alone, but it's about what the BCCI as a board is telling and projecting young athletes, that both men's and women's cricket is equal for us. And of course, globally speaking, in all major sports, this has been a great matter of debate of whether both men's and women's athletes should get equal pay, quote unquote, for equal work. Now, I know that there is a lot of debate on this because in many cases you could argue it's not equal work. But as far as the example to be set is concerned, if you are playing a certain match, if you're playing a certain number of matches in a tournament, why should there be a difference between what men's cricketers get and what women's cricketers get? Yes, there's a difference of the market here. The market forces are different. The money a board makes from men's cricket and women's cricket is different. But this is a virtuous cycle or a vicious cycle. Unless you put in the effort and the money, women's cricket wouldn't reach the level where it can sustain itself and then get more money. And, if you don't do that, you could always argue that it's not fetching that much more money. So to make it a virtuous cycle instead of a vicious cycle, the board needs to do more. And that's exactly where this is the first step that's coming in.
True. Well put,